it's Georgia Rose, and I am in the soul space with my hair sticking up. So anyway, I don't know why that's happening. Some weird witchy thing. Um, Welcome to the soul space. I am Georgia Rose, your psychic astrologer. I practice evolutionary astrologer. For those of you who are just tuning in tonight for the first time, we are here every Monday night at 7 in the Soul Space podcast. So welcome, welcome. We do all kinds of stuff on the show. We have some fun, and we have guests, and we talk about spiritual stuff and astrology, and I even pull tarot cards, which I'm going to do tonight. So let me share my show because I do that. And for those of you out there watching, if you could share the show, we would be so appreciative of that. So going to do that. Share, share, share on my feed live now. And lately, some of you have been saying that you can't find the show. Well, there's no excuse not to find the show because we are all over. I am on every podcast platform. I am in Apple Podcast. I'm on Spotify. I am even on Cablevision. And the show gets taped, although I do it live, it gets taped afterwards, and we put it on YouTube on both the Zenkuda site and also Strong Island Television on YouTube. And you can listen to us if you don't want to just watch on Strong Island Radio. So there's never a reason not to find me. I am everywhere and nowhere, but mostly everywhere. So welcome. And for those of you at home, if you would like to share the show, I would be very grateful. We're trying to get more and more people to come into the Zenkuda soul space. So tonight I'm going to talk about the November astrology. We'll start off with a little bit of that. I don't want to give too much about the November astrology. I did a little bit last week. You can look at that show back on the YouTube channel. And then I want to talk a little bit about Election Day tomorrow and how we think that the election is going to go based on the astrology, which, no, I don't know who's going to win. And then I am going to pull some cards tonight. So, So how are you all doing? I have to tell you, this week, the last 7 days, especially today, have been really, really wonky. Not just time-wise, but all kinds of strange things been happening. And it's kind of comical, but then it kind of gets on my nerves a little bit too. But like anything that can go wrong goes wrong, but it's silly little glitches, like nothing big. I don't know if you guys have been experiencing that at all, but I certainly have. For instance, I always send photos in if I'm going to put any photos on during the live show. And Carmine, our intern, just came out to go over some photos with me. And he said, Georgia, I have your photo of the moon and of the refrigerator. I said, what are you talking about? I don't have a picture of a refrigerator on tonight's show. Well, yesterday, I put some used appliances on Marketplace in my area. And apparently I sent the wrong picture to the studio tonight. Bobby's laughing. So they said, well, we didn't know. We thought you were doing something with space is cold out there or something. But anyway, not to be totally irreverent and offensive to anyone. However, I have a plan for ICE if they're looking for people who are in the country illegally. All you have to do is put a $100 refrigerator on Marketplace, and 400 people will come to your house that are suspects. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about the state of the world. All right, so we got the share the show stuff about. We're going to do the November astrology. And also want to tell you guys where you can find me when I'm not live on the Soul Space. You can find me on Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook and Zenkuda Official on Instagram. You can also find me on the web at zenkuda.com, Zencuda, just like you see up here. And you can also find me on YouTube at Zenkuda, where we have over 200 videos. The show's always banked. I do a lot of full moon, new moon. And on the website, zenkuda.com, you can actually book a reading with me. It'll give you the whole date, time, it schedules, and it'll even give you the Zoom link. And I always give a video of our reading together, so you can refer to that for years to come. So let's get busy tonight. I'm going to say hello to some of my guests who are here tonight on the online. And if you guys have any questions for me about the November astrology or any questions about anything that you're working on spiritually, let me know and I will answer those. Okay? So I know we've got some people on. I just have a little bit of a delay. And I'm going to say good evening to everybody. And please jump in. I want to see your comments. I want to hear from you. Okay. So I got Laureen on. I got Marie on. I got Tess. Hey, Tess. How are you? Haven't seen Tess in a long time, my good friend that moved to Florida. And I have Cheryl on. So, November astrology. Guys, we are at a precipice of a time that's really going to change and shift. How many of you woke up yesterday and felt a little bit of a shift in the world? Because I certainly did. Yesterday was November 3rd, and we had the moon opposing Pluto, which is a very, very big energy normally. But this particular moon Pluto opposition is really intense because we have, I'm sorry, Mars and Pluto opposition. Mars and Pluto opposition on November 3rd. Exact, okay? So this was a really big shift because Mars and Pluto are both at the last degrees of their signs. Pluto, in a few days, November 19th to be exact, is going to be going into Aquarius. Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. So if you think about all the things that have been going in your life since 2008, Pluto headed to Aquarius is actually a time when now it's spending these next couple of weeks wrapping up everything that came to the surface from 2008 to now. That's why we're seeing this presidential race in America heat up so intensely and why we're feeling like everything's really heating up. It's almost like the world is pregnant and about to give birth. And you may be feeling that in your own life as well because things are really starting to become bigger and like a balloon that's going to burst almost. And that's because at the end of Capricorn, as I said, Pluto's wrapping up all the years and all the things that it started since 2008. What are some of those things? The crumbling of structures, government, schools, financial markets, all those things. We've seen great shifts in that. So now, from now until November 19th, those things are going to really come to a head. And the election in the US is very symbolic of all of those things. We're ready and pregnant for a change. We need to give birth to change. The question is, who's going to bring the change? Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? Who knows, right? Only time will tell. However, that new moon in Scorpio that we had on Friday really set in motion a lot of revelations. And for some of us, that means really deep things coming out from the vault of our lives. We're being shown where we need to heal. We're being shown how to do things differently and new perspectives. And that's what Pluto going into Aquarius is all about. It's about pioneering, giving us a new perspective and showing us new ways of doing things, not only in our own personal lives, with our relationships and our situations and even our health, but it's also showing the world new ways of doing things and being pioneering. In these next several years, when Pluto is in Aquarius, which is until 2036, I'm sorry, 2046, it's going to be over 20 years that Pluto is in Aquarius. And during this time frame, we are going to see a tremendous amount of artificial intelligence, a tremendous amount of technology, healing, sound healing, new modalities for healing. Pluto in Aquarius is all about our evolution in science, in it's an air sign, so it's all about the way we think. It's very mercurial. And it's ruled by Uranus, which is sudden, shocking surprise. So the fact that this election is happening so close to this planet egressing into a sign and an archetype that is all about newness and pioneering and uniqueness. And, you know, the purple dinosaur is Aquarius. It's accepting our own individuality. It's community. It's coming together in unity. Those are all the symbols of Aquarius archetype. So when you think about that, our future is very promised. And that's why it's almost like the world is pregnant, because think about those last few minutes when you're going to give birth, you know, when you're going to have a baby and all the people around you are excited and something's going to happen and there's this optimism. Well, we feel that in the world right now, whether you're for one candidate or the other, whoever you are deeply invested in, you're starting to feel optimistic that there's going to be a win. But what will happen? So I'm going to dive a little deeper into that. But first, I want you guys to know that today, on the 4th of November, we've got a couple of things happening as well. Mercury went into Sagittarius today, which is actually going to change the energy because Mercury going into Sag, it's been there, it's actually moved there on Sunday. That changes the way we think and feel. That brings also optimism. When Mercury, which is the sign of our minds and the way we think and the way we relate to things intellectually, goes into Sagittarius, that is an energy of thinking with a broad brush. It's like, looking at things from an eagle perch and seeing things with a much broader perspective. Mercury in Sagittarius is also all about the truth and honesty. So that's something that's really going to be a change, right? We don't see a lot of truth and honesty in the world right now. We see so much chaos with the truth and with honesty that we don't really know what to believe. And the only way to know what to believe is to go within, measure everything against our own intuition, our own soul, and our own heart, and we know what's true. So Mercury in Sagittarius is going to make that energy even more broad because it's going to bring that seeking of the truth down into our intellect. Our brains are going to kind of have a radar system that knows what's true. For those of you who've ever met a Sagittarius or have Sagittarius energy in your chart, you are not only about the truth, you are the truth. You want to be the truth. That's how Sagittarius is. But Sagittarius is also an energy that can be, real ideology and really someone who's entrenched in a certain way, that their way is the truth and there's no other truth. So that's going to be a very interesting dynamic to see play out in the weeks to come. Also, later on in the week, we have Mars entering Leo. Mars entering Leo is very different than Mars in Capricorn. And bear in mind that we have this Mars-Pluto opposition happening right now, which I'm going to talk a little more about. I talked about that a lot last week, but I'll give you a little summary on it. So Mars and Pluto, when they're in opposition, Mars is the god of war. Mars is our aggression, it's our action, it's our assertion. And Pluto is our soul's desire, but it's also dark and can be mysterious. It's also, Pluto is something has to die to be reborn. So you take that against the god of war, and it could actually be a warlike symbol. It can also be a lot of unrest, a lot of volatility. And we have Uranus very active in the chart right now, which is that sudden shocking surprise factor. So is this a good energy? Well, it's going to be a wowza energy. It's going to be an energy of shock and surprise. When I put all this in a blender, what do I think? Well, quite frankly, tomorrow's not going to be any decision. I think that we're probably going to have a lot of volatility, a lot of shock, surprise, changeability, shifts in things up until around the 15th of November, and then things will be more decided. That being said, I also think with a sky like this, where we've got Mars opposing Pluto, Leo, and Aquarius, you've got fire and air. Leo is fire, it's solar, it's sun. Aquarius is Uranus, sudden shock, air. What happens when air and fire meet? Well, sometimes air feeds fire, right? So this is a time, these next few weeks, when, things are going to escalate. Things are going to be accelerated. The higher octave of Mars opposition to Pluto is Pluto bringing out deep things that we can heal and use Mars energy instead of aggression for assertion in order to find that new way that Pluto in Aquarius after the 19th of November wants us to find. But all things being said, we're coming to the very end of a time and starting the beginning of another. This is egresses of planets, which means planets shifting and changing where they've been in the zodiac for quite a while. Between now and 2025 and somewhat into 2026, we have more planets shifting and more cosmic energy shifting than anyone has ever seen in the history of the universe. I mean, astrologers sometimes can go back thousands of years, and these are energies that we have never seen before. This is karmic energy. This is a unbelievably potent time. And if you don't get it right now, and you don't start to get on the right path now and into the first half of 2025, you're not going to get another chance in your lifetime. Because right now, the universe is supporting and propelling us to do what our soul's desire is. That's why we're all in the soul space tonight. So this is a really serious time. You've got to clear the guts out. You've got to clear out all those things that are holding you back from living your path. An astrology reading is a great way to figure that out. It puts you in touch with the connection that is your soul space. So that's why the series of episodes that I've been doing and will do until the end of this year is all about creating change in your life. This time is so potent. It's incredibly, I don't even know the word. It's just incredibly exciting to look to the future and know that almost everything that we are dealing with right now is going to change. And, the universe and the power that created us, whether you believe that to be God or angels or aliens or fairy dust or whatever it is for you, there's no right or wrong belief system. It's just you have to have a belief system in order to have a foundation in your life. And so, whatever your belief system is that gives life meaning for you and that has created an energy that had created everything that we are, that energy doesn't bring about change for us to suffer or be in detriment or be in deprivation. That energy brings about change to bring us to a higher evolution. And that's what this energy is about. It's the end of one phase of the evolution of mankind and the beginning of the next. And if that sounds very lofty and almost crazy, I know it does, but it's the truth. Mercury in Sagittarius, it is the truth. But we have to be that energy. And we can create change by stepping into that energy and being the truth of that. Or we can continue to do things the same way over and over and over again, creating more deprivation, more harm, and more dense energy in the world. So it's up to you what you're going to create in your life, and up to me what I'm going to create in my life that's going to bring about the change that we need to see in the world, right? So I wanted to go over a little bit with you all because it was just so interesting to me that this U.S. election is Pluto's last chance to finish what it began in 2008. And if you really contemplate, on your drive to work tomorrow or on your drive taking the kids to soccer, really take a few minutes, turn the radio off in the car and really think about what's gone on in the world since 2008, right? This is Pluto's last chance to really get that energy all tied up and bring what we need to bring forward into Aquarius for the pioneering change and the transmutation of that dense energy into a healthier place. This is the reconstruction, right? Death and rebirth. The world is pregnant, right? So that new moon energy of Scorpio on the 1st ignited a lot of this. And now Mars opposition to Pluto, because Pluto rules Scorpio. It's all that same kind of energy, death and rebirth. Something has to die to be transformed. That is the energy that we're really going to be in now for a while. And it's also the energy that's going to ramp up what goes on in the world. However this election comes out, guys, and I hope I'm not boring the people who watch this show. I know we have Australia watching and Ireland watching and South Africa watching. I don't want to bore you guys. But however this election comes out, there's going to be a large faction of opposition to that. Stay out of it. Because that's the old way. The new way is embracing change, saying, well, maybe this isn't what I believe, but maybe there's a reason people believe this. Let me ask some questions about what it's really about. Whenever we have opposites or polarization, the way to integrate the energy is to ask questions. So maybe we all need to kind of take a deep breath. Obviously, some of this is left to fate. Take a deep breath. There's someone up there controlling everything, all right, orchestrating for us for our best interest. So maybe we need to take a deep breath and step out of that oppositional kind of mindset and go into a mindset that, well, whatever happens, how can I make the best of it? How can I bring my life forward with beautiful energy of love and expansion and evolve myself in the parameters of what's going on in the consensus around the globe? And that's really where it's at. A lot of that is also charity work, come out of the resistance and the aggression and do some charity work, help people. We're all unified. No one's left out. That's what Aquarius is about. Aquarius is everybody in, nobody out. Community. So Mercury's into Sagittarius, Mars went into Leo, change, right? Now we have Mercury in a fire sign and Mars in a fire sign. That's why things are heating up. On the 19th, when Pluto goes into Aquarius, it's air. It's going to feed the fire, babies. All right? So get it right now. You won't have another opportunity where the universe is supporting you in all the change you need to do now. All right? I know it's scary, but that's part of Pluto. Pluto brings out all of our deep fears, so we have to look at them. It's like when you're a kid and you think there's something under the bed. Something's going to be under that bed until you get out of bed and look and you see nothing's under the bed. So just do it. Look under the bed, guys. All right? I'm trying to do that now in my own life. There's a time of great change that is upon us. definitely. I wrote that down, underlined it twice. So now what I thought would be really, really interesting would be to talk about a little bit, not too much because I want to go to cards in a few minutes, to talk a little bit about the Kamala Harris and Donald Trump charts right now as we go into the actual voting. All right. And there's really, you can't look at their charts and not know that this has all been preordained and for a reason. I'm telling you right now. Um, Kamala and Donald Trump have certain aspects that are right on top of each other if you laid their charts over each other in very, very strategic ways. These are two souls that were born to be interlocked. And there's an opposition in their chart that is actually like they've been locked together in a battle or in a mission. They were meant to be opponents. They were meant to also do this together. And you can think of that as opponents, or you can think of that as they're both together in this, right? They're both, although they have the same path, really, they're to the same ends, right? They're on the same road to the end. They're locked together, right? They're both in this battle together. And the aspects that they have is, and I wrote this down because it gets a little tricky, but Kamala Harris, her ascendant, which is her rising sign, is at 24 degrees of Gemini. Donald Trump's sun is at 22 degrees of Gemini. What does that mean? It means that any aspects that cross that portion of a chart, which, every day the planets are moving. And right now, Uranus, that planet of sudden shock and surprise, is in Taurus on some of their planets. But in Gemini, we have Jupiter, which is a planet that expands whatever it touches. So right now, Jupiter is expanding Donald Trump's sun and Kamala Harris's rising sign. Now, our sun is our solar light. It's our personality. It's also the way the world sees us, which is why Donald Trump has been, coming up in the polls. Jupiter is right there expanding his solar energy of his sun. But it's also on Kamala Harris's ascendant, which is our personality. Our ascendant is who we are becoming. So when you look at those aspects in both charts, it's like, wow, this race could go either way because they've both got Jupiter, this planet of expansion, expanding very important areas of their chart, of their person, of their soul space that would need to be expanded for a win. But there's more. Kamala Harris's North Node is on her ascendant. The North Node is our future. It's where we're headed in our life. The North Node is always directly opposite the South Node. So that her South Node is at 25 degrees of Sagittarius, and her North Node is at 25 degrees of Gemini. Now remember, Donald Trump's sun is there, right? Kamala Harris's ascendant is there. So Kamala's nodes are right on her ascendant. Meanwhile, Donald Trump can't make this stuff up. His nodes of the moon are at 20 Gemini, right on his sun. Now, what does that mean? Well, it's an aspect that shows they both were born during an eclipse. Yeah. Now, that's not that rare, but it's pretty rare to have two opposing candidates for president with their sun and their rising sign right on top of each other and their north nodes right on top of each other, right, in the same signs. And then have Jupiter right in that area of their chart. So Jupiter is hovering over both of their nodes, which means that Jupiter is expanding their future. In what way? I don't know. This could mean anything. It could be actually that these two are like co-joined astro twins. No, it's ridiculously uncanny. That's why they're neck and neck, because the universe is giving them both the same propulsion, the same energies. Now, of course, they'll be used differently in each chart because Kamala is a Libra sun. Her sun is at 27 degrees of Libra. The North Node is transiting Libra right now, but it's already passed over her sun. It's on the other side of that sign. However, she also has Mercury right now at 2 degrees of Sag transit. Remember, Mercury just went into Sag. So Mercury is going over her ascendant. Now, Kamala also in her chart has Mercury on her natal sun, which is why sometimes she has a hard time speaking. It's almost like her mind works too fast and she comes off as not being that together. But that's very common of people with sun Mercury. We call it a cazimi. So she is very intellectual. She just doesn't always come across like that because it's almost like her mind works too fast for her mouth. Many people have that type of thing. And being in Libra, she always wants to be the diplomat. She doesn't want to take a stand on things. I know people complain that she doesn't talk about the issues. Well, she's a Libra. Libras don't want to talk about anything confrontational. They don't want to make a decision. They want to be the diplomat. Whereas Donald Trump's sun is in Gemini. He sees all the information and wants to talk about everything. That's why his talking style is sometimes he doesn't finish a sentence because he's on to the next thing already. So there, if you look at that energy, it's like they have a lot of the same energies. They just come out interpreted in communication differently for each person, which is very, very interesting. So now Jupiter is transiting 20 degrees of Gemini. Venus is transiting 17 degrees of Sagittarius. And the north nodes now are Aries, north node is in Aries and the south node is in Libra. So I'm sorry, before I said north node, I meant south node was in Libra. So that's in Donald Trump's 8th house and Kamala Harris's 2nd house. So what does that mean? It means that this is destiny for both of them. I don't know what's going to happen. I had made a prediction earlier, which sounds crazy to everyone, where I think that it would not be strange to me if I woke up one day a month or so from now and whoever won the election was giving a position to the one who didn't. Wouldn't be totally strange to me. I know it's strange to all of you guys, but that's just how the energy works. It's like they are so intertwined. They're really like cosmic twins. So here's what I think about the energy. Here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going out on a limb here. I'm nervous. Okay. We're not going to have a winner tomorrow. I think we'll have a winner sometime before November 15th. I personally think that whoever the winner is not going to be president for very long. I also think very strongly when I look at Vance's chart that he is going to one day be the president sooner than people think. That's what I think. Whoever wins this particular election, I don't think they'll be holding the seat very long. I think that somehow we have different people in office because the astrology right now is all about deep, huge shifts. This is everything flipping over and shifting. I don't see either one of the candidates doing that, embodying that, not right now anyway. And as we get more into that Aquarian energy, we've also got, Neptune going into Aries, which is more fire. We've got Saturn going into Aries, which is more fire in 2025. We've got Uranus going to go into Gemini, which is more air in 2025. Everything shifts. Everything shifts. By the end of 2025, middle of 2025, we're all going to be in such a different place. Donald Trump wants to make things better by using ways from the past. Kamala, I don't know. Does she want to keep things kind of the same? I don't know. So I don't see either one of those candidates bringing us into a really hugely changed, definitely different shift of a future. I think things are going to get so much better across the globe because of these energies. It'll take a little bit of time. This is not something that happens in a day. These are energies that come through over the course of many, many years. Pluto's going to be in Aquarius for a long, long time. Once Uranus goes into Gemini, it's going to be there for a long, long time. But it's just so interesting that we're at this time in the zodiac, where we have never been before, with two candidates to become the leader of the free world whose charts have such interchangeability. It's unbelievable. I will tell you right now, Kamala and Donald Trump have had many lifetimes together. This could be a resolution of that karma. I don't know. But I will tell you that it's very, very rare that you see two charts like this. It's almost as though if they were a couple and someone came to me for what we call a composite reading on two charts where I look at the relationship and I can tell you exactly the interaction and the purpose of the relationship. If you looked at these two, it's absolutely destined that they would meet and be somehow deeply, deeply entwined. It's just crazy stuff. I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. So I'm going to go to some comments and then we're going to go to cards. All right. So happy Monday to you too, Marie. Too funny. I know. I'm telling you, the refrigerator thing. Hi, Cheryl, Gina, John. I got Renee. Hey, Renee. Tony Carlimi. Kim Murray. Yeah, it's an interesting understanding of true truth. That's for sure. Wondering if anyone have read Quatrains of Nostradamus. You know, Kim, a lot of people bring them up, the Quatrains of Nostradamus, and they're so, like, it's easy to read into them what you want. So I don't really, I used to do it a long time ago, and then I was like, this, I don't really know if it's the right thing. But interesting that 2008 was a recession here in the U.S. Yes, that is one thing. I don't like to comment on this stuff because I'm very careful of what I put out in the universe. But I do believe the financial markets are going to greatly shift now, greatly shift. I think what we use as currency is going to greatly shift. I also think that the way we trade and the way we do things is going to greatly shift, and world power is going to greatly shift. In 2019, I did a lot of videos and I kept telling people we're in the beginning of a new world order. We're in the beginning of a new world order. Now we're in more into it. And by new world order, you're going to see a lot of power shifts. Will the United States of America be a leader in power? Maybe not. There may be another country that becomes the leader of the world. I don't know, but I will tell you that this is an energy that is going to flip things over in a big way. The best way to use this energy is to allow it to give us the propulsion we need to flip over our own lives in places that we need to do that. If there are things that you really need to change, pray, spend time in quiet introspection. The way that we change our lives and create change in our life is to step out of chaos and go into silence and go into quiet prayer and meditation and really thinking about what we want to create and then manifesting that. Sarah says yesterday she felt like she was confronted again by many of my traumas from the past 15 years. That is this Pluto-Mars opposition, Pluto in the last degree of Capricorn. All of our traumas and our fears are coming to the surface. I had a couple of those episodes this past week, and it actually brought into me revelations of things that I never realized before, and understanding some of the fears that were driving my life. And it's been a really beautiful, beautiful time. I've been spending a lot of time by myself in quiet contemplation because of that. Renewal and believe. Yes, put light out in the world. I don't think it's the end of the world, literally. I think it's the end of the world as we know it. And from your own perspectives, that can be good or it can be not good. For me, I think it's the beautiful evolution of mankind. I happen to think with the planet shifting and us having so much fire and air coming out of years of earth and water, which has been dense and heavy for us, I think you're going to see our brains expand, our species of humanity expand to be innovative and bring things in that people only dreamed about or have not even yet to dream about. I think these next 20, 30 years are going to be unbelievable, the way that we actually go forward. All right, so I'm going to pull some cards. And I'm not, I know some people put a few things in the, I try to stay very, very neutral about my comments and things, especially during elections, because I will not spread hate. I will not spread vitriol about anyone on the planet. I don't care who they are. And we won't be tolerating it in the soul space. So please don't start going into all the political things. Your soul doesn't know anything about politics. Your soul doesn't know anything about the money you earn. Your soul doesn't know anything about your career. Your soul doesn't know anything about the guy who cut you off in traffic. Your soul wants to spend time in much deeper things than that. Okay? And that's why we do the soul space. And that's all I'm going to say on it before my Sagittarius rising gets fired up. Okay. So just shuffled. I am going to pick a card for, I'm just going on. You know what? I'm going to pick a card for Tess because this is our first time watching. So we're going to pick some cards for you. Okay, Tess. We have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is an action card, which means that there's action happening in your life. Oh my gosh, you got more wands. And a Nine of Wands. When I pick wands like this, it means that you're going through a shift, a busy time. If you look at the first card, it's a competitive kind of card, like you're still in a little bit of battle. Wands are the action, right? You're pushing something away, maybe trying to get new stuff in. And then the second card that we pick, if you look, that's also a card, wands, but look at all the new growth on the staffs or the wands. that's indicative of you coming through, that goodness is coming, abundance is coming. And the last card is the Emperor, which means that you are triumphing over whatever this action is. I feel in the first card that you were triumphing because all these staffs and obstacles, you're beating them down, you're overcoming them because you have this beautiful golden light, golden shirt. And then in the second one, you can see you're almost resting. You've planted those victories and there's growth coming in. And now here you are, the emperor on the throne. And when you look at the emperor on the throne, you can also see the ram's heads on the throne chair. That's a Aries sign, which is new beginning, 0 degrees of Aries. We're going to have a transit this spring in 2025 where Saturn and Neptune meet up at exactly 0 degrees of Aries, and it's a beautiful conjunction, which has not happened since December of 2020. And that is very symbolic of all new energy and the beginning of tremendous abundance and a whole new way. Like it's almost like the world turns over and it's a great starting point. So whatever you're working on, remember that it's coming to abundance and fruition. Keep your thoughts really pure and clear. And I'll bet you by spring of 2025, you're going to feel uplifted. You're going to feel just a renewal of even your perceptions and the way that you actually look at things in life and the way you have conversation. Things you pursue are going to be different. It's really going to be a very, very interesting time for you. So let me see who my next person I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Christine Musi Ubrano. I did a reading for Christine not too long ago, and I think she found it meaningful. If anybody wants a reading, just go on zenkuda.com. We go over your chart. And most of the time, once I do a reading for somebody chart-wise, they will come back every few months so that we can do their progressions and their transits and really, get things going. So, Christine, you've got the Death card. Now, this is a great card because we're in that something has to die to be reborn, finishing a 15-year cycle. So this to me really means that you're letting go of the past. Whatever needs to be buried and released is so that you can have rebirth. There you go. The King of Pentacles is here. And the King of Pentacles is all abundance. Look at all the pentacles. You can see on his robes all the flowers. The King of Pentacles is very indicative of abundance coming in. So let this go. And if you look at this, you'll see that the Death card, it actually has like a wizard, right? That's by the horse over here. So it's riding into the new beginning, releasing and going forward. And look, the Emperor card came out again, and I put it in the middle of the deck and shuffled. So again, the abundance, the ram's heads, charging into a new beginning. These are great cards for everybody tonight. It's very indicative of the energy. The only thing I will tell you is that this King of Pentacles for you, Christine, all this golden light around it, the thing about the King of Pentacles is it's business. It's the three-dimensional world. So you got to work it, So make sure that you are doing whatever you need to do to show the universe what you're trying to manifest. This is not a time to be lazy or rest on your laurels. You've really got to make sure that what you're putting out there is the newness. Don't fall back. Our fears are going to come through, especially with these Mars-Pluto oppositions. But beat those fears and make sure that you are ready to go forward. You're doing it a new way. You've got the abundance coming in. You're sitting on the throne, charging towards a future. Okay. Next, I'm going to do cards for Aaron. Aaron is from Texas. He's one of my longtime people. And we're going to do a reading for him soon, too. Aaron's always got stuff going on. And he always makes me laugh. Because whatever's going on, even when Aaron is suffering, he always has a good sense of humor. We can all learn a lot from him. Okay, I want to really shuffle these for you, kiddo. Okay. Okay. What do we got for you, Aaron? Oh, good. So I'm glad we're getting cards for you. He said he skipped his workout class. All right, so don't panic, because I know whenever I do cards for Aaron, at first he panics. So this is the Ten of Swords. The Ten of Swords is, some people call it a death card. I don't really think of it that way. I think of it more of a rebirth card that, like, it's dead and buried. Whatever you needed to release, whatever has been like irking you because you can't quite give it up or give it away or get rid of it, it keeps coming back in. This means it's definitely over now. It's gone, it's done. The thing to remember about the 10 of swords is you have all this darkness, right? Meaning that, we've ended something. But look, you've got these beautiful golden like mountains, and he's laying on gold. So this means that you have buried treasure, basically. You've got to release and get rid of the old, be done with it so that the new can come in. And the Empress, look at this, Venus. Okay, this is about love. It's about things that matter. It's about finding a deeper meaning in life. Again, all the gold behind. You've got the green, new energy, these beautiful green trees coming in, and the sign of Venus right on her beautiful instrument. So when the Empress comes after the Ten of Swords, this is all about whatever had to go is being released, done for good, and all of this beautiful new energy, once again, same theme, coming in. And if you look, the other thing about the Empress is all this wheat that's growing under her feet. That is indicative of new growth. Virgo, whenever we have energy in the fall, right? We're in, Scorpio energy now. But whenever we have the harvest, we have to separate what doesn't work from what works, the wheat from the chaff, what's no good. And that's what this Ten of Swords is about. It's separating that. Let go of the darkness to bring in the light. And then the Empress comes in to help us grow those new seeds, to be abundant in them, the things that are deeply meaningful to us, that sign of Venus, and that show us the way forward. That's what it's all about. And then the third and final card is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is a fire sign. I know that you have Aries in your chart, Aaron, and that fire Queen of Wands is the Aries sign. Queen of Wands, when she comes in, you can see the little cat. She's got little, pet with her. Her robes are golden. She's sitting on the throne. She's got a flower in her hand, if you can see that, and in the other, the new staff or the rod that has new growth on it. This is the completion of the task going forward to plant the garden. You've done the work, and now you're ready to start reaping the rewards of that. And I'm going to pick one final card for the confirmation that the Pentacles and the abundance, Pentacles in the tarot are abundance, are coming your way. Look at this, sweetie. You got the Queen of Pentacles confirming your reading. What more do you need to know that your future is golden and things are going to come your way? Especially, when Neptune goes into Aries, Saturn goes into Aries, you're going to find that things really come together for you because you've got a lot of Aries in that chart of yours. And you've been growing. You've been really learning your lessons. You've been doing your work. You've been doing your Saturn. So take this with you because that is so much abundance. You've got 3 queens and the Ten of Swords. Everything's going great for Aaron. Let me tell you, I got to send up some hearts to him because it's just great. He said his life's been so crazy lately, right on point. Yeah, let go. Don't, whatever dead horse was being beaten, whatever energy kept coming up again and again and again, let it go. Purge it. You don't need it anymore. All right, I got time for one more. Let's see, who am I going to do tonight? I couldn't see past my microphone. Okay, I am going to go to Michelle. Okay, Michelle. Michelle says now she's totally depressed. Why? Don't be totally depressed. Be happy. Good things are coming. I'm telling you, 2025 is going to be a work year. 2025 is going to, when you see a lot of the shifts coming in, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be a lot. But once we hit 2026, it's going to be really great times. So do the work now so that you get it early, right? Okay, so Michelle. Ooh, all choices for you. This card is a card of choice. It's a card that shows where, thank you, Carmine, great shot. Let's leave it close up. This card shows that you have too much going on and too many choices to make. Whenever this card comes up in a reading, it's an indication that we want to go into a quiet space and really start to think about what's meaningful for us. We're getting too emotional. That's why there's all this water and blue at the bottom of the card and why we're in darkness and all these choices have become highlighted for us. We want to go back and making us the highlighted part so that we can make a choice. And this card also symbolizes very much the same thing. When we have the star card in the deck, and it's unbelievable, I'm getting so many major arcana cards tonight. It's wonderful. The star card is indicative of all the stars around you and abundance, again, coming in, good things, graces, blessings. But you've got to balance. You've got to be in the material world, one foot in the material world and one foot in the spiritual world, which is what this beautiful pond indicative of. This is also the Aquarian card, which we've talked about a lot tonight, because Aquarius is known as the water bearer. It brings the water. It's an air sign, but it brings the water. What does that mean? It means that it refreshes and it renews. So all of these choices, sometimes it becomes that the choice itself becomes overwhelming. So you want to let go, release the process of making the choice that you've been going through. Go back into the spiritual, keep one foot in the material so that you can make that choice. But instead of being confused by it, ground into that beautiful water, that renewal, that refreshment to find the choice that you need to make. And here it is. I couldn't make this stuff up. This is the hand of God showing you the right way and the right choice that you need to make. All the other choices are on the bottom, all these cups, and you're being given it. But the thing is, right now, you don't see that the hand of God is showing you what to do because you're in this and you're overwhelmed and you're like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Quiet contemplation, spiritual, connect, above as above, so below. Let Aquarius bring the water, the refreshment, and then you're going to see the choice, the divine choice the hand of God is giving you to make. So find a tree and sit under it and take some quiet repose. Okay, sweetie? So that is the show for tonight. And what I'm going to ask, like some people in the comments, like, please stop making political comments. This is not a political show. Spreading hate and vitriol and negativity all over my show is really not the way to go because we will ban you. All right? So and we'll do that in a very loving and kind and neutral way. As I said, the soul doesn't know about this stuff. So I will close the show out. I want to thank everybody for coming on board. And next Monday night, we'll be here. We'll have a lot to talk about. And I'm also going to talk next Monday night a little bit more about creating change in our life. My best advice to you for this week ahead is stay out of the craziness. If your whole life is wrapped around decisions that are being made by the rest of the world and thinking about the world coming to an end and things like that, you're in the wrong place. Go into your soul space, find a nice quiet place, go out in nature, and really use creator energy, connection to find a beautiful place of synchronicity where you can drive your life forward. Thank you so much. You can find me on zenkuda.com if you would like a reading or any services. And you can also find me on Zenkuda on YouTube if you'd like any more videos. And also, you can find me on social media at Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook and Zenkuda Official on Instagram. Thank you so much. I wish all of you love from the bottom of my heart. And let's just say a really quick, quiet prayer for our country tonight as we put our heads on our pillow later, that the best outcome possible for all of us happens and that we accept whatever that is in a loving and kind way. Thank you so much. I'll see you all next week, 7 p.m. right here in the Soul Space.